Oh. Okay, we have many questions. So let's start with the first one. How have you seen the Kotlin community evolve since it became a first-class citizen for Android development?
It's challenging because now everyone thinks that Kotlin is only for Android, so which it is. And actually, the funny story there is that when we first created Kotlin, we never created it for Android. Someone just posted a message to the forum and said, "Does it work with Android?" We're like, "I don't know, go try." And it didn't. We fixed the issue, and there you go. So has it grown? Substantially. Like, to give you some numbers, when before I/O we had 20 user groups, now we have around 140. I had a course on O'Reilly. Just after the 17th of May, it quadrupled in views. I didn't get quadruple time richer, but anyway. You know, our Slack, it was growing quite well. You know, we were getting about 1,000 users. Well, we were at around 8,000. After I/O, we immediately jumped to something like 12,000. So, you know, it's grown substantially, which is a good thing. But again, it is also challenging that, hey, it's not just about Android.
Okay, so how much adoption has there been for asynchronicity as a standard in Kotlin? For example, compared to promises in JavaScript.
That's a weird promise. I mean, a weird comparison because, yeah, well, okay. So we don't know how much there's been. I mean, we don't know. And the fact that it was called experimental didn't help. But we do hear, like, I can tell you some projects that are using it. Spring, you've heard of Spring Boot? Anyone? Yeah, that's using coroutines. Vertex, that's using coroutines. Ktor, which is our framework, that's using coroutines. And we're hearing more and more. Like, for example, we just, you know, Kotlin Conf is in October. We've had a whole bunch of submissions around some large and small name companies that are actually using coroutines. So it is growing, people are using it, but we don't have exact numbers to tell you.
Okay, so is there any roadmap for Kotlin on the .NET CLR?
No. To be honest, it really doesn't make sense. Kotlin compiles to JVM, which is an amazingly awesome platform. Yes? Yes. It compiles to native, which essentially means you get it on macOS, iOS, Windows, Linux, Raspberry Pi, embedded, all of this. And it compiles to JavaScript because, well, there's hipsters in the world. So really, you don't need... I don't say hipsters in a derogative way. Huh? So you really don't need it. Like, you don't need it. Yeah.
Okay. Here there are a couple of questions about the difference between the coroutines in Kotlin and the Go routines in Go. Can you tell us the difference?
Well, I mean, the concept is essentially more or less the same. The implementation details might vary. I don't know the implementation's details in terms of Kotlin Go routines, but I'm guessing that, like many things, it's probably, you know, under state machines or not. But conceptually, I would say they're pretty much the same.
What is the state of the community requests for real immutable data structures in Kotlin? Why not having them as the default?
Do you want to also ask about type classes? Whoever asked that. So the keeps are, the keep, which is the Kotlin evolution and enhancement process, are basically docs on GitHub that have suggestions by communities. Immutability is an important aspect. Beyond that, I can't give you any roadmap, and I don't think that Andre would ever give you any roadmap because we've not really been public around our roadmaps in terms of when we will implement a feature. But it definitely is something that is important for us.
There are a couple of questions. Well, let's go just for the last one. Here someone says coroutines should not block, but there are tons of blocking APIs on Java. Is there a way to detect a call to blocking functions at a static time or at runtime?
Is there a what?
Is there a way to detect a call to blocking functions at a static time or at runtime?
Not that I'm aware of. And calls that are basically blocking in Java, yes, there are. So there are ways that you can kind of work around it with coroutines. So for instance, you could create a kind of like a wrapper or extension functions that essentially are confining it to a thread pool and then launch that in its own thread pool. So there are ways to overcome that, or just combine it with non-blocking API calls.
Just last one. Does Kotlin support Java 9's modules?
Does Kotlin support Java 9 modules? Let me ask you, does Java support Java 9 modules? Java 9 modules are there. I mean, we're working on it. Java 9 isn't complete yet, but it's definitely on our roadmap.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's good.